Pester here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. As we turn to Stephen Miller, President Donald Trump's senior White House policy advisor. Over the weekend, Miller appeared on the major networks to defend Trump's travel ban. Speaking on the CBS program Face the Nation Sunday, Miller said Trump's authority will not be questioned.
The end result of this, though, is that our opponents, the media, and the whole world will soon see, as we begin to take further actions, that the powers of the president to protect our country are very substantial and will not be questioned.
Viewers took to Twitter to blast Miller's appearance as scripted and robotic, but Trump expressed glowing approval, tweeting, quote, "Congratulations, Stephen Miller, on representing me this morning on the various Sunday morning shows. Great job," unquote. Several reports have identified 31-year-old Stephen Miller as the architect of Trump's controversial executive order that temporarily banned people from 7 Muslim countries from entering the United States. Miller reportedly also wrote Trump's aggressively nationalist inauguration speech along with Trump's chief strategist, Steve Bannon, and in July penned a draft of Trump's acceptance speech to the Republican Presidential Convention. Miller's central role in the Trump administration has been drawing praise from white nationalist leader Richard Spencer, who famously coined the term alt-right to describe the insurgent right-wing movement that's attracted white nationalists and supremacists. Spencer told Mother Jones last year, quote, "Stephen is a highly competent and tough individual, so I have no doubt he'll do a great job," unquote. Prior to serving as top aide to Trump's presidential campaign, Stephen Miller worked as a former staffer for then-Republican Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama, the new attorney general, who has a record of opposing the Voting Rights Act, supporting anti-immigration legislation, and making racist comments. Well, for more, we're joined by 2 guests. In Miami, Florida, we're joined by Fernando Penedo, a national political reporter at Univision. His new piece is headlined, "How White House Advisor Stephen Miller Went from Pestering Hispanic Students to Designing Trump's Immigration Policy." And in Los Angeles, we're joined by Cynthia Santiago, who attended Santa Monica High School with Stephen Miller. She was the first Latina president of the school's associated student body. Santiago is currently an immigration defense attorney who recently assisted people impacted by Trump's travel ban at LAX at the Los Angeles airport. Fernando and Cynthia, welcome to Democracy Now! Fernando, let's begin with you. Why did you take on this as a subject for Univision?
Well, as you can imagine, for us, immigration topics are very important, but our audience wants to know. And, well, it turns out that Mr. Miller, he went to this high school in Santa Monica where he studied, he woke up politically and developed his hardline positions. At that time, he started writing in articles for the student newspapers and other local newspapers. He contributed to conservative radio shows. And in this high school, it turned out that Latinos are the most important minority. So we decided to take a closer look into those years and talk to students who knew him.
And talk about what you found. Univision obtained a video made by 4 of his high school classmates for an audiovisual production class at the time. The video contains fragments of a brief 90-second speech by Miller during his junior year at Santa Monica High School in the spring of 2002, including a controversial reference to the job of janitors.
Yes, exactly.
Let's play the clip.
I'm Stephen Miller. Some of you may or may not know who I am. We don't have time to get into that right now. I'm the only candidate up here who really stands out. I will say and I will do things that no one else in their right mind would say or do. Am I the only one who is sick and tired of being told to pick up my trash when we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it for us?
That was Stephen Miller speaking in his junior year at Santa Monica High School in 2002. Now, Donald Trump's senior White House policy advisor. Comment on what he said, Fernando. That quote, if you could go ahead.
Okay, I talked with one of his best friend at the time, Chris Moritz. He said it was just a joke. But actually, he made that comment before around 2,000 students in the amphitheater of the school. And Many students I interviewed, they said that this comment was perceived as offensive because the janitors were all people of color. It turned out that students that I interviewed, they described Miller as a provocateur. Some said that he enjoyed offending people, and some even described incidents, altercations, in which Miller said things like, speak English, this is America, to students who spoke Spanish in the hallways. And that's what they told me.
Cynthia Santiago, when did you come to know Stephen Miller? Talk about his views in high school, your experience of him there, and what you're seeing today with him in one of the highest positions in the White House advising President Trump.
Yes. When I was in high school, about my junior year, which is the same junior year of 2002, I first came across an article that he had written for a local newspaper. And in that article, he made reference to Latino students that he basically said lacked basic English skills. And in that same article, he made a reference that there was some causal link, that that would be the reason why these Latino students were not in the honors classes. He pointed out that there was a small number of Latino students in honors classes, and therefore it was because of their lacking basic English skills. These comments were very degrading because he made an overgeneralization. He didn't make a link, or he didn't even try to address the issues of academic inequality and disparity in access to those classes. So those are some of the statements he made, and that's when I became aware of him, and aware that he was starting to provide more commentary. He was starting to have more interactions with students, and he also made those statements to some students about speaking English only in this country. And so those were signs.
Can you elaborate on that?
That he would use generalizations of people.
Cynthia, can you elaborate on that, about the issue of speaking English only and his views on this, what he talked about in high school?
So in high school, I was also a member of Movimiento Estudiantil Chicano-Chicana de Aztlán. It's MECHA, and it promoted cultural heritage and pride in your background, but it also promoted, an access to higher education. And he was known to go to those meetings and stand outside and harass some of the members that were trying to leave those meetings. So I believe that the statements about English only were because he viewed these groups, the groups of pride and heritage, as being groups that didn't promote American values.
Can you talk about a speech he gave? I think you were on the stage at the time of this speech when he ran for election in the Santa Monica High School.
I was a candidate for the student body president, and I was also on stage. And when he said this speech, immediately students were reacting to him, and you can tell that in the video, that students were booing and students were getting louder because they were extremely, upset about this kind of statement, because a lot of students perceive these as statements of racist statements, because the janitors at our campus were individuals, Latino and African American janitors. It also,
and for those who couldn't quite hear the video, I just, at the end of that clip that we played, Stephen Miller said, "Am I the only one sick and tired of being told to pick up our trash when we have plenty of janitors who are paid to do it for us?"
And generally, most students also felt, even though we were teenagers, that that we viewed our custodians, our janitors on campus, as people deserving of dignity and respect. And those statements were not, they were quite the contrary of what you would treat staff and individuals and human beings.
I wanted to ask Fernando Penado about what radicalized Stephen Miller. Now, some might be saying, why are you going back to high school? That's a real stretch. Now, for someone like, President Trump, he's 70 years old. But for someone like Stephen Miller right now, he's 31 years old, so high school is less than 15 years away. I wanted to turn to comments by Stephen Miller during his appearance on Fox News Sunday, speaking about recent immigration raids.
Right now, as a result of the president's order, greatly expanded and more vigorous immigration enforcement activities are taking place. It is true that Operation Crosscheck is something that happens every year. But this year, we've taken new and greater steps to remove criminal aliens from our communities.
Before we go back to Fernando, I wanted to ask Cynthia, what you're doing now, 15 years after high school, is you are involved in challenging what many have called, including President Trump, the Muslim ban. What Stephen Miller has so clearly defended and many say helped to craft. Your thoughts?
Yes, it's very unsettling that a person with these types of views, or a person, that expressed these views many years ago and still seems to express them, is in a position of authority. And if he was part of that team that crafted this is unsettling because it truly doesn't represent a person who values what it is, the balance of power, rights in this country, the branches of government. And so it is unsettling and frightening that someone could be in a position as he holds without some extreme vetting to determine if he's able to be in that position, given his views.
And finally, Fernando, what radicalized him? He talks about reading the works of Wayne LaPierre of the National Rifle Association. What was your sense from what you found?
Well, my sense from what I found is that he caught the attention of well-known conservatives nationally, and he spoke of them as mentors. So I guess he was encouraged by these well-known figures to follow this path, and but he has said that it was this reading about the Second Amendment, about gun rights, that made him discover these ideas. And then the thing is, when he started writing a lot, he paid a lot of attention to issues of race and culture. He started this war against multiculturalism, and he started advocating for assimilation, total assimilation. He finds it un-American to express other identities that he doesn't perceive as American. That he perceives them as foreigner, as foreign.
Fernando Peinado and Cynthia Santiago, we thank you both for being with us. Fernando with Univision, Cynthia attended Santa Monica High School with Stephen Miller, currently an immigration defense attorney in Los Angeles. And that does it for our show. Go to democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.